Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I think this is day 5 now of my video every day for the month of April challenge. It's not that like I'm challenging anybody or like that, it's just for myself. But anyway, it's not important. If you're new here, my name is John and I'm an American that's been living here in China for 15 years now. And on this channel, I just kind of like to share stuff from like my daily life in China, as well as some of my just thoughts and experiences in China, as well as just some insights on life. I'm getting older and I like to share some of those things that just pop in my mind, or things that I'm learning about life as I'm getting older. So anyway, today I'm actually, well, I'm not right now, but I was at work and I'm just taking a little break. I went out, had some coffee and just hang out for a little bit. And I thought I'd go ahead and make a video for you guys today about working, since I'm working today. And in today's video, it's gonna be more like about how I found my first job here in China, which is much different than what it is like nowadays. And so I'll tell you about what it's like nowadays too, in terms of looking for a job compared to when I first found a job here. So I'll tell you that little bit of story real quick, and I guess I'll share a little bit of vulnerability. I can't talk today, but because there were some things that I did that weren't exactly ideal or typical or whatever. But I'll share that story with you guys. So I've talked about this a little bit before, but there's a lot of new people lately, so people may not know the story. But when I came to China 15 years ago, this is like back in 2010. I think it was July 2010. So almost 15 years now. But yeah, when I came here with $1,000 in my pocket, no job, no nothing. I was reading like online and stuff. Actually, previously I tried to move abroad twice and I failed. I ended up homeless and all kind of other stuff. Long story. Actually, it's in my book. I'm writing a book about all the experiences and stuff like that kind of changed me to who I am today. But anyway, not important. It's not finished yet. But when I first came here, yeah, I had $1,000 in my pocket, no job. I didn't have a job lined up. I just showed up with hopes of finding a job. I was actually on some online forums, and because I was really looking for a way to leave America, not for any particular reason. I just wanted to be somewhere else. And anyway, I found this chat forum, and I seen a lot of guys talking about they were, living in China, working in China, kind of illegally, I guess. Like it was easy to get a job here. And they were talking about how easy it was to get a job here if you were here. Because I like applied for some online and I never got an interview, never got nothing, not a phone call, not a nothing. And I was trying to figure out why. And then it turns out like I obviously didn't meet any of the qualifications. But some guys were in the forum talking about they didn't have qualifications. They just showed up and got a job. And so I thought, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. Follow in the footsteps of others who've done it before, So yeah, saved up some money, bought me a plane ticket. It was like 3 months in advance, right? That was like March or April. I bought the ticket for July. And so during March, April, May, June, whatever, I just like kept working and saving money until it was time to leave. And when I left, I had $1,000. I got here, stayed in some crappy, cheap hotels, and I went out every single day, like knocking on doors, looking for jobs. I just go into any school, any training center, any place. I didn't care what it was, as long as they were, hiring. I was applying, and most of them didn't really want me because I didn't have any qualifications. Really, I really didn't have any qualifications. I didn't even have a degree or nothing at that time. Luckily, I do now, but I didn't at that time. And so anyway, yeah, I just knocking on doors and spending money on hotels and all this stuff every day, and just really trying to save as much money as I could, like trying not to spend a lot of money, And anyway, I was knocking on doors, and I knocked on this door. Well, we call it knocking on a door, but like, I went up to this school, and it was during the summer holiday, like they're all on summer break, but the school was about to start soon. It was in like late July. School usually starts September, but a lot of teachers go back to work in August, so schools like really need people to make sure they have people at that time before school starts. So I was going around to schools, and anyway, I went up to this one school. It was actually a kindergarten, And anyway, I go to the security guard, and he don't speak any English, of course, and I don't speak any Chinese. But I'm like, I'm looking for a job, and didn't know how to communicate with the guy. And he just like give me this emotion, like, wait a minute, and he walks off. So I'm like, okay, I understand. This means wait. He goes inside, brings out a lady, this really tall, thin lady. Her name was Miss Chen, and she was actually a really nice lady. But anyway, she came out, talked to me in English, and told her, I'm looking for a job, blah, blah. And she said, you're in luck. The boss is here today. It's like the boss is a Hong Kong school, actually. It was in mainland China, but the school was from Hong Kong. The boss was from Hong Kong. She said, you're in luck. The boss is here today. Come inside, and you could talk to the boss. So I went inside, covered in sweat. It was like 100 degrees outside, and I'm covered in sweat. And I'm dressed like I'm looking for a job. Looked like I went swimming on the way there. And anyway, the lady comes in, sits down to talk to me, and I know I look like shit, but I just tell her, I'm looking for a job, and she asked me like about my experience and all this and that, and I told her the truth. Like, I don't know if, I don't have any experience really. I volunteered for a few months in America, but it was for free, and I didn't get much experience. And I basically told her with confidence, though, I said, I can do anything, I can learn anything, I can do anything if you show me how to do it. And then, we chat for a few minutes. Something about her, I don't know, she just really liked me for some reason. And she told me she believed in me, and she wanted to give me a chance. And she said, wait a minute. She came back like 20 minutes later with the contract and put it on the table. And she said, I'm going to give you a chance if you can, accept the contract. And she actually gave me more money than I even expected. I was shocked by that. But yeah, she offered me a contract and told me that the tall, thin lady, Miss Chen, was going to teach me how to do everything. And so I didn't even read the contract. I didn't hesitate. I just signed my name and said, okay. This was after 2 weeks. And I got the job. And a couple weeks after that, I actually started working, and the lady started teaching me everything I needed to know. And then later, I was able to actually, to get my degree and all this other stuff and actually be legit. But the first year, I was, doing visa runs back and forth from Hong Kong, crossing the border and all of that until I got my degree. And then after that, I got legal paperwork and all this other stuff and, became legal and was legally working in China ever since then. And actually, I got 3 degrees now, so it's kind of crazy. But anyway, yeah, that's how I got started. But nowadays, that don't work. You can't do that anymore. Schools don't accept that, really. And then also the other thing is, like the laws and rules and regulations have become so strict nowadays. It's really, really difficult to find a job like that, especially one that will let you work illegally and actually give you a contract and pay you money and all this other stuff, and even pay for your visas and all that stuff. Like they were doing all that. Nowadays, you can't find that. But that being said, there are loopholes around the system to do it legally, and I'll share a little bit of that with you today. But anyway, nowadays, things are different. Nowadays, you pretty much have to go through a recruiter for the most part. My previous job, I found myself online. I just like looking at Chinese job advertisements for like hiring like Chinese teachers, and I contacted the schools directly myself and asked them if they wanted a foreign teacher. But the job I just got now, I just went through a recruiter like most people do. And as far as the recruiters go, they don't get any of your money, nothing like that. They used to do that back in the day, but nowadays it's very different. So you don't have to worry about recruiters scamming you and that kind of thing. It's not really a thing anymore. But the best way is find a recruiter, and most of the recruiters are on WeChat. Like you get in like WeChat job groups, something like that, and they put job advertisements in there, and you can find them that way. And actually, I'm working on something for you guys. I want to put together some type of group where I can get people who are looking for jobs in China and connect them with recruiters who will help them find jobs and that kind of thing. But there's a couple of things in regards to looking for a job nowadays. Number one, like I said, you more than likely will always be going through a recruiter unless you just somehow get lucky and a school actually contacts you. But usually it's going to be through a recruiter or like a job agent or something like that. And then secondly, if you are already in China, doesn't matter if you're a native English speaker or a non-native English speaker, if you are already in China, recruiters will talk to you first and will try to help you get a job first over anybody else. Because if you're already here, it's just much easier to get everything done as opposed to somebody who's in their home country. If you're in your home country, you can still do it, but it's not as easy and you're not the first preference. They're not going to look at you first. They're going to be looking at people in China first. Now, secondly, if you are, if you are a native English speaker like myself, if you're from America or Canada or something like that, right? It's easier to get a job here. Even if you're in your home country, like they'll look at you, especially if you're a white female, you'll definitely get preference over anybody else. If you're a white male, then you'll be number two. Black people and brown people, even if you're native speakers, you're not really in high demand. I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is. But there's still opportunities available. But usually, it's not always true. But a lot of times, like I have friends here who are black folks from America, and they often get lowballed on their salary. They get offered lower salaries. But there's some who get higher salaries too. They just have to, you have to be patient and kind of fight and negotiate for it in order to get it. But it is available, like you can get it. It's not impossible, okay? I'm not saying that. Now, if you are a non-native English speaker, more specifically, if you are, let's just be honest with you how it is here. If you are a non-native English speaker and you're a white person, so if you're from, Russia or Serbia or Ukraine or something like that, usually you have, they prefer you over a black or brown person who is a native speaker. So, there are options available and there's loopholes to get you a job here legally. Like most people, you can't legally get a job as an English teacher. Like you can't come here from Russia and be like, okay, I want to be an English teacher and get a job like legally as an English teacher on paper. But what they do is several different loopholes around it. Number one, they'll hire you and say you're like a manager, right? You're not an English teacher, you're a manager, and you'll be managing this department or something like that. And then so they get you like a manager visa, but you'll be teaching English. You won't be managing anything, but you'll be teaching English. And then the other loophole that they do is now they hire people for a specific subject. For example, drama. They'll say, oh, we need a drama teacher, and they'll hire you on as a drama teacher, but you'll be teaching drama using the English language. So you'll be teaching English pretty much. Or they might hire you on as a music teacher and you'll be teaching music, but in the English language or art, something like that, right? You'll be teaching those subjects, but you'll be using English to teach those subjects. So that's how they get you on paper as a legal teacher and legally pay you money to work there legally as an art teacher, music teacher, drama teacher, but you're still teaching English. It's just the loophole that they've been using for the past several years, and it's been working, and that's how they do it. But again, if you are, a black or a brown person, so I have some friends like from Nigeria, who are, some black dudes I know, and they struggle to find good paying jobs. They get jobs, but they get lowball offers, like a quarter of what I make. And if you're like a white person from Russia or Ukraine, then you'll get, same money I make. You just be teaching drama or something like that, right? So there's ways how they get around it. If you're somebody like from Middle East or something like that, again, jobs are available. There's loopholes to get you a job, but you're not going to be the highest preferred. But it's possible. I have friends from all over the world, from every continent, from every country. I have friends from Iran, have friends from Pakistan, and friends from India, friends from Nigeria, friends from Somalia, South Africa, both white and black, Americans, Canadians, British. I mean, I have friends from literally every country in the map, Russians. I know friends from everywhere, and they're all doing jobs in education, and they're doing them legally. They're legally here, so through some of these loopholes. So anyway, I just thought I would share that information with you guys. So if you are someone who's interested in working in China, whether you're a native speaker or a non-native English speaker, it is possible. It's much easier if you're in China. If you're not in China, it's still doable, but very difficult. If you're a non-native English speaker, if you're a native English speaker, it's doable, very possible, but you're not the top preference. The top preference is somebody who's here already. So that's the little recap on getting a job in China right now in 2025. And you have any questions or anything like that about that kind of stuff, then, let me know. If I forgot something, if you already know the answers and something I left out, let me know in the comments below, share it with everybody. because I don't like make scripts for this stuff like that. I'm just telling you off the top of my head, my own experiences, what I see and what I know from my friends that I know here in China and these other things like that. So, yeah, that's today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.